When I called, I told them I was having trouble making this record with another band in Los Angeles. It wasn't rough enough, it didn't have any rock edges. I was looking for someone, and of course, I found Jules, who I didn't know. Enjoy your stay on our channel again. Today, we're going to look into the interesting life of Rod Stewart, a great rock and pop music star. Stewart's rise to fame is truly amazing. He has had a career spanning decades, sold over 250 million songs, and amassed a fortune of around $300 million. Aside from the fame and fortune, his life has been full of problems, from relationships in the public eye to a fight with thyroid cancer. Come with us as we look into Rod Stewart's complicated rise to fame, his battles, and his lasting impact on music. Watch out! Rod Stewart left behind a legacy of success, hardship, and inner struggle. Rod Stewart has been a famous person for over 60 years and is known for being the voice of rock and pop music. Stewart is thought to have a net worth of around $300 million right now, which shows how successful he has been in the music business. People all over the world love him and have bought more than 250 million of his records. His unique raspy voice, electrifying stage presence, and obvious swagger have made him a superstar. As you might expect, Stewart's path to fame and wealth has not been easy. His domestic life has been just as rough and complicated as his work life, full of both scandal and success. Stewart's life story is one of persistence, strength, and forgiveness, from his high-profile relationships to his fights with illnesses that could have killed him. How to become a star. Rod Stewart's early years set the stage for the job that would make him famous everywhere. He was born in London, England on January 10, 1945, and grew up in a working-class home. A factory worker named Robert Stewart was his dad, and a housewife named Elsie Stewart was his mom. Stewart's house was always filled with music, though, because his dad loved big band and swing music. Stewart first learned about the power of music from the records that played in his house. But it wasn't until he was a teenager that he found his love for singing and playing the guitar. Stewart joined several bands by the mid-1960s because he loved music so much. These included Long John Baldry and the Hoochie Coochie Men. But his rise to fame came from being the lead singer of the rock band Faces, which started in 1969. People liked how they mixed rock and blues, and Stewart's voice became one of the most recognizable in rock music. Soon, he became famous all over the world for his solo work. He put out a string of records, each one more popular than the last, solidifying his position as a music legend. Stewart had a big impact on people outside of the music industry. Songs like Maggie May, Do You Think I'm Sexy, and The First Cut Is the Deepest became anthems for an age. Stewart's career was going well, but his personal life started to fall apart in strange ways. It was announced in 2000 that the rock star had been diagnosed with thyroid cancer, which shocked both fans and people who worked in the music business. Stewart was famous for having a lot of energy on stage, but all of a sudden he was in the middle of the hardest fight of his life, a fight for his life. Stewart felt shocked when he heard the news because he had been getting regular checks. A regular scan for tumors found a growth on his thyroid, which turned out to be cancerous in the end. The cancer was treatable because it was caught early, but it had a huge effect on his health and his work. People who sing should be especially worried about thyroid cancer because the thyroid controls metabolism and makes hormones that are important for voice health. Dr. Stewart told him that the surgery to remove the tumor might hurt his voice cords, which were already weak from previous problems years before. In spite of how bad things were, Stewart stayed positive and was eager to get better. They operated right away to remove the cancerous growth, but the operation came with a huge number of risks. Stewart was afraid that he would never be able to sing again because he might lose his voice. Stewart had to take 9 months off from acting because it was so hard for him to get better. As he worked with vocal therapists to get his voice back to being strong and clear, he had to deal with physical and mental problems. Stewart's voice was never the same after he got better. Even though he didn't have his signature raspy tenor voice, he changed it to a warmer, more adult sound that connected with his fans in a new way. The way back to health, it wasn't easy for Stewart to get better, but his strength showed. It took Stewart years to get his voice back to normal before he went on stage again in September 2015. At a concert, he sang his famous hit, "I Don't Want to Talk About It," which was a successful return to live performance. For Stewart, this achievement wasn't just a win for himself. It showed how determined he was to keep going with his work, even though life had thrown him some setbacks. Stewart also became very interested in supporting people with cancer after this event. He became a strong backer of the City of Hope Foundation, which works to find cures and improve care for children with cancer. Stewart used his fame to spread information about cancer and how important it is to find it early. He also told people to get regular health checks to catch diseases early. Stewart's fight with cancer changed him. It made him more compassionate and inspired him to use his fame to help good causes. Not only did he become famous for his singing, but also for his work helping other people who were sick. Life outside of work, marriage, family, and being a dad. Rod Stewart's personal life has been just as public as his work life. He has been married 3 times and has been in many relationships. The media has often looked closely at his love life. His first marriage, to Alana Hamilton in 1979, didn't last long, only 5 years. Stewart later said that he was too young to get married at the time, and that his crazy partying had made things difficult between them. Even though they broke up, they had 2 kids together, Kimberly and Sean Stewart. Stewart had a famous romance with model Kelly Berg after his divorce from Alana. They had a daughter together named Ruby Stewart. Although they never married, their relationship was significant for Stewart and had a lasting effect on his personal life. Stewart's second marriage to beauty Rachel Hunter in 1990 got even more attention because the two were very different ages. Hunter was only 21 years old at the time, while Stewart was 45. Even though there were problems, they were married for almost 10 years and had 2 children, Renee and Liam Stewart. In the end, they broke up, and Stewart later admitted that he was wrong to think Hunter was the one. Stewart married Penny Lancaster, a model and photographer, for the 3rd time in 2007. They have 2 boys together, Alistair Ward and Aidan Ward Stewart. The couple has a strong bond, and Stewart has said that Lancaster is like a rock in his often unstable life. Stewart is now a more gentle and understanding partner because of what he has been through. He stresses how important it is to talk to each other and never go to bed angry. Stewart has become more focused on family since becoming a father and grandfather. He often says that his children and grandkids bring him the most joy. Trouble with the law and public scandals. His personal life has been in the news a lot over the years for court problems and public scandals involving Rod Stewart. In 2007, Stewart's son Sean Stewart got into a fight with a security guard outside of a party in Los Angeles. This was one of the most famous events. As things got worse, both the father and the son were charged with assault. Sean Stewart had been in trouble with the police before. He had also been in jail for 90 days in 2002 for beating up a man outside of a Malibu coffee shop. The already difficult relationship between the father and son got even worse because of these events. Sean Stewart's problems kept getting attention from the public, with spots on reality TV shows like Sons of Hollywood and Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew. Stewart's relationship with his children has stayed a central part of his life, even though he has had personal and legal problems. He has been a loving father, and being a dad has changed the way he thinks about how families work. Stewart's priorities changed as he got older. He started to value spending more time with his children and grandkids, and he often thought about his own childhood and the lessons he had learned as a parent. Rod Stewart's broken relationship with his firstborn daughter, Sarah Streeter, is one of the saddest parts of his personal life. She claimed that he had abandoned her. So a woman named Susanna Boffey says Sarah was born in 1963, before Stewart became well known. Stewart was not active in her upbringing at the time, and Sarah grew up without her dad. Years went by before Sarah found out the truth about who her real father was. Their connection became even more complicated when she found out that her father was one of the most famous musicians in the world. Stewart later said he felt bad about not being there for Sarah when she was a child and admitted that leaving her hurt her. In a moving moment, Stewart told Sarah that seeing a picture of him welcoming his new son Alistair to the world made her cry. It made Sarah think of the years she had lost and the relationship they might have had. Despite the distance between them, Stewart and Sarah have allegedly attempted to rebuild their relationship in years, but the scars of their past remain. A legacy of strength. Rod Stewart's life story is one of overcoming terrible odds. His career has been marked by amazing musical achievements, but what has really defined his reputation is how strong he was in the face of illness, scandal, and family problems. Stewart has faced life's problems head-on, always coming out stronger and more determined. This includes his fights with cancer and his complicated relationships with other people. Even though he has made mistakes and has flaws, he has never given up on his dreams and has always been dedicated to his family, his fans, and his songs. Through it all, Stewart has shown that his impact will last for generations, just like his songs. Rod Stewart's life is very complicated and sad because of Sarah. Her presence is overshadowed by his fame and wealth. The year Sarah was born, 1963, was just the start of Stewart's career. Her real father quickly left her. Stewart's short relationship with Susanna Buffy Williams led to her birth, which wasn't expected. Stewart wasn't ready to be a dad at only 18, and he made it clear from the start that he didn't want to be a part of the child's life. Stewart didn't try to be there when Sarah was born. He was already far away from what was going on, and his attitude was one of denial and escape. Sarah grew up without her father around, and her story is one of longing and being left behind. Sarah later said that she didn't meet her father for the first time until she was 18. That's when she found out who her real father was. She was shocked to learn this, and she set out right away to get back in touch with the man she had only known as a faraway figure in her life. She tried hard, but Stewart stayed cold and uninterested, telling her he didn't want her in his life. His words were very sharp. During their partnership, they were hurt by these painful rejections over and over again. When Sarah became an adult, she tried to get in touch with her dad more than once, but he ignored her or laughed her off each time. Stewart's lack of attention is clear from his answer to her wedding invitation. 3 months before her wedding, Sarah sent her father an invitation with the hope that he would at least notice. On her wedding day, she only got a bouquet of lilies, a card signed by Stewart and his Lancaster, and a PS 5,000 gift voucher from Harrods. These were all reminders of a father who was still mentally absent. Sarah always wanted a real relationship with her father, even though she got lots of gifts from him. She kept her phone with her all day in case she got a call, but it never did. Sarah lived with the painful truth for years that Stewart cared more about keeping up his public image than addressing his firstborn daughter. You could feel how sad she was.